What is going on? What is going on? What is going on, party people? It's your boy, Coach D Brown, former big league, former first round pick with the Kansas City Royals. And listen, man, it's been a while, man. It's been a while since I've had a college coach on, man, and we've been rocking and rolling now, for about two or 3 months straight in the summertime. I had it lined up. Now I got to catch them when I can catch these guys. They're working and they're practicing, and they ain't got no time for Coach D Brown over here no more, man. So the beauty of this thing here though is when I'm able to catch them, they're always willing to come on and share their information about their school, man. And you guys know how I feel about college, junior colleges, man. And it's no different here, man. And we're gonna learn about Feather River College out there in the Bay Area, up Northern California. Let me put it like that, in California, man. But man, this is I appreciate you coming out. We got Terry Baumgardner over here from the head coach at Feather River College and junior college out there in California, man. Coach, what's going on, brother? Thank you for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, D. I really appreciate it.
No doubt about it, man. So, man, I always have my guests. It's been a while, man, and but listen, man, I always like to hear the background behind the man behind the program and find out his background. Where's he from? Playing career. All right, so the listeners get an idea of who these guys are that build these great programs over there, because you've been doing great things over there for a while, man, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But right now, I want to know, the man behind the program, man. So you kind of give me a little, background, Coach. You know what I'm saying? Where you from, playing career, up to where you are now at head coach at your school now.
Okay, thank you, D. I originally started off playing baseball in Oregon, so that's originally where I'm from. So I played my high school ball there.
What part of Oregon?
My college ball up in Salem. So up by Western Oregon University is where I played at. So NEI school.
I played against Salem
Kaiser.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
You know that area.
Yeah.
No, you good.
Yeah.
So I played my college ball there for 4 years. I was a pitcher. Then after my playing career was over, then I ended up going into coaching and started coaching at Western Oregon. So I was the head coach there at 24 years old. So nice. I stepped right off the playing field and onto the coaching scene, and everything took off from there. My teams back there were pretty good. We went to the regionals in '95. At the NAI level, we went to the World Series in 2001. We took third place in the country. And then in 2002, we transitioned over to NC2A Division II. And the 4 years that I was Division II head coach there with them, we went to the regionals 2 out of those 4 years, and we won the conference every year. And then in 2006, 2007 is when I made my trek down to California. So down here in Quincy, up in Northern California, we're by Lake Tahoe near Reno at Feather River College. And I've been here since. We've just we have an outstanding program here. Our goal is to develop players, develop men, and we've done a pretty good job with it. We've had over 75 kids sign D1 scholarships during my 14 years here. We've had numerous guys drafted. We've had a guy make it to the big leagues with the Indians. He was a pitcher. He just retired this year. And we still got a couple more in the organizations right now that are playing pro ball. So it's a great opportunity for kids to get a chance to develop and play some baseball. And so I'm been in this business for almost 30 years now. So it's been kind to me.
Speaking of the location over there, I should have played the video. I'm gonna put if I could get the link, I should have downloaded it and put the link on there. But if you get a chance to look at that recruiting video, one is exciting, but if you look at the scenery, man, for those of my listeners who have never been up towards that Tahoe area, it is what it is. Beautiful country up there, man. It's people from all over, man. Many athletes that I know, friends of mine, brought homes out in that area. And I've been out there a few times myself, man. Beautiful country out there. So I'm guessing it ain't too hard to recruit once those guys come on and get a chance to get over there, man. So, but anyway, speaking of recruiting, man, you've been doing a hell of a job over there, man. How many years you said how many years you been at 10 or 14?
This will be my 14th year as the head coach here at Feather River.
Wow. And so out of the 14 years, man, when it comes to recruiting, so you obviously have a nice recruiting base. Is it strictly, I mean, California has, hell of a talent, and, everybody's trying to get into California, to pluck that talent away from California, man. But is it something where, you pretty much stuck in California? Did you ever get, come outside of the state to get players, or what?
Yeah, our recruiting base is a little different than everybody else in California because we're allowed to recruit out of state. So we get kids from Oregon, Hawaii, Colorado, Arizona, Nevada. We can go nationwide. We got a catcher from Minnesota currently on our roster. We've got pitchers from Florida. So we leave no stone unturned, and we'll go anywhere to help kids out and give them an opportunity to play some baseball.
Man, I love it, man, because most of those. So let me understand this, because I always kind of get this mixed up. So from a scholarship level, are you able to get scholarships in junior colleges there in California, or no?
No, the California's JC system is set up with no scholarships. It's designed for the California kid to go to his local JC, and it's a pretty cheap in-state tuition. It's like $46 a credit, so it's pretty cheap. So that's what the California system is all about. At the 4-year level in California, they can give scholarships, but not at the JC level.
Right. But so those guys coming from Minnesota and all that, they just pay for school. And so how's the housing situation? Pretty nice for the out of state, guys, and you know what I'm saying? And how does that work? The housing is pretty nice over there at the campus. How's the facilities out there? No, I already seen the field, so I could vouch for the field. But locker rooms and hitting cages and stuff like that. Tell me a little bit about it, man.
Well, I'm in the locker room right now. We have 37 lockers in our clubhouse, so we're very fortunate. We're one of the few JC programs in California that has a clubhouse, so we got that going for us. We have 3 outdoor cages, so we got facilities there, and we got an indoor facility we have used to as well. We do all of our games are streamed on Facebook Live, so with our Feather River College Facebook page. So we have a gentleman that follows us around. We call him Superfan, and so he gets all of our games online, does the play-by-play for us, does interviews after the games. So that's a pretty unique opportunity in JC baseball as well. And then the housing part, we have 3 different student housing options for kids. Plus, we have rental houses in town and whatnot. So housing is pretty easy to get. For the out-of-state kids who pay their tuition, usually their second year here, they can apply to become a resident of California. And if they get accepted to that, then they'll get to pay the California rate for tuition. So that's what a lot of our out-of-state kids do their second year. It's like getting a scholarship almost. You get the reduced tuition if you qualify. So that's what a lot of the kids are looking forward to. And everybody wants to be a California resident because you play baseball in California. You must be good, right? Because everybody, like you said earlier, everybody wants to come out and recruit these kids. So a lot of the 4-year schools are out here. And if you play JC baseball in California, you must be a good player.
Yeah, I mean, it's speaking of that, JC level in California, if you could kind of explain, I mean, obviously you being from Oregon and coming down there and seeing the type of talent you're playing against and playing with, equivalent to some of these D1 programs that, you're shipping these guys out to, but it sounds like you're running a big time D1, junior college program. What would be equivalent to your level of ball that's being played in your league and, type of program, man? What's equivalent as far as, because I know certain schools in certain parts of this country, they're D1 programs and they're just classified as a junior college, Exactly.
There's a lot of good JC programs throughout the country. And JC baseball is really good in Arizona, out there in Oklahoma, in the Midwest, Florida, and California is just as good as anywhere else. You come here to play and there's going to be good pitching you're going to face. We've got some of our teams that could go out and they'll beat a D1 program at the 4-year level. That wouldn't happen all the time, but you got that opportunity to do it. This game's crazy like that. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. But there's a lot of talent in California, and we're very comparable to what's going on in Arizona, what's going on in the Northwest. That's the question I'll get a lot from people, and I'll ask the question too to scouts. Hey, you've seen the Northwest, you've seen Arizona. How's California baseball? And they all say that California baseball is just as good, if not better, than those other places that are playing. And that's no knock on those schools. I mean, there's good baseball being played around the country right now. It's a pretty exciting time for kids, even though we're dealing with this pandemic at this time. There's a lot of good baseball programs out there, a lot of great coaches, a lot of people like yourself that are really promoting the game of baseball, positively throughout the country. So it's a really good time to be playing baseball.
No doubt about it, man. It's hard. I hear from a high school level down, COVID has really affected California big time. You know what I'm saying? How has it affected the junior college scene? You know what I'm saying? Because I know on a high school level, you guys are pretty much shut down. Is that right or no?
Well, it goes based by each county. So each county is different.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we're fortunate. We've been able to have class practice this fall. So our guys feel really lucky. I know there's the bigger cities. It's a little more tight. It's tough for them to get on the field. But our players, we're very fortunate that are here, that we've been able to practice going on 8 weeks now, or 9 weeks we've been going. We got 4 weeks left of fall. And so we're getting better on a daily basis. And that's all you can ask during this time. We're still somewhat up in the air whether we'll get to have a spring season, but right now we're scheduled to start April 10th and finish sometime in June. And I'm really hoping that everything just works out good for us.
Now that's later than usual, right? Or no?
Yeah, usually we start at the last weekend in January and we go till the end of May. Now we're pushing everything back to April 10th. And then the final regular season game, I think, is June 12th, and our playoffs will be different this year. It'll be June 16th to June 23rd. It'll be single elimination. It'll just be the North State will have a champion, and the South State will have a champion. So, there's over 90 teams that play baseball in California at JC level. So there's like 45 in the North, 45 in the South. And so this year, rather than combining for what we call a Final Four, where we have the top two from the North and the top two from the South, we're just going to have a champion in the North, champion in the South, and be good for this year.
Man, this is that's damn. It's a lot of schools, man. Gosh.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Man, this is. Go ahead, I'm listening. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of schools. It's great competition. The one thing the pandemic hurt us this year was that we're getting a reduction in games. But next year we should be back to normal, we're anticipating, which means you get to play 20 games in the fall. You get another 40 to 50 in the spring. So you're playing nearly 70 games a year in California. So that's also a good benefit for kids looking to play all the time too out here in the nice weather.
Nah, I mean, yeah. Now it could, I've been out there in about March. I think I went March in Tahoe. And it's beautiful, but it was kind of nippy out there. And we were there during the time where a lot of the guys I was in the meeting, they were going skiing, in the mountains during that time. You know what I'm saying? It was, but it was cool. I mean, I'm gonna say it was like this, but it was kind of cool out there. You know what I'm saying? It was, definitely long jacket, and long sleeve type thing. But those guys are skiing up. They were like, oh, the mountains, But is it yep. So kind of mountains where the ball plays like that? I mean, does the ball fly a little bit up there or no?
No, we're about 3,500 elevation, so the ball doesn't carry like people think.
Okay.
Especially at our ballpark, it's a pitcher-friendly ballpark. We just got to have outfielders who can run. So fortunately, we're lucky. We have usually 3 guys out in the outfield that run 6'6" or better in the 60, and they can run things down for us. But we're not as cold as Lake Tahoe. They're up there around 7,000 feet. So we are a little warmer down here, but yeah, it does get cold at Lake Tahoe, and the ball would carry up there. Now, if that college up there ever created baseball, then that would be some home runs flying out of that place for sure in that elevation.
Right. So speaking of, tell me, what style of play do you like? I mean, you just kind of just put it out there real fast, be like, yeah, I just let you know, hey, we have 6'5" runners out in the outfield, so we got guys that could dig and go get it. So yep. from a style of play, you know what I'm saying? What is a Coach Baumgardner type of player? What kind of style of play do you guys play, man?
We like to run. We like speed. So a lot of our guys that they got to run. and that's what you do. And so we look for guys who can run a little bit, especially in the outfield. Middle infielders, same deal. Our third baseman or first baseman, they can be a somewhat of a base clogger, but and the catcher too. But we like to have guys who can run. We like to steal bases. We've always been in the top 5 in the state in stolen bases, and we pitch. That's one of the things. We're pitching and defense. So a lot of the D1 schools, pro scouts know that, hey, if you're looking for an arm, you're looking for some defense, this is where you're going to get it. Come to that program. You're looking for speed, come to our program. We haven't had very much luck having a lot of big boppers. Our last guy, who was the slugger of the state in California, went to the University of Washington and played. We had a big left-handed hitter. But even he can run a little bit too. But he was like 6'3", 240, and he was athletic. And so he could drop some bombs real quick for you. And so, yeah, that's kind of our style. You kind of got to know who you are as a program. And that's kind of been our niche since I've been here, is we don't try to recruit kids that we aren't going to get. We try to develop kids. And so that's what our program is about, is player development. So we don't have a lot of kids that come in throwing 90 miles an hour, but through our weight training program, long toss, and them just maturing, kids start throwing harder. And that's what it's all about, So we've been fortunate to send those guys on to D1 programs, get drafted. Those are things that you look for. And you got to know who you are as a program. I think we do a pretty good job of knowing who we are and what our strengths are.
How long did it take for you, what I'm saying, like when you started 14 years ago, to establish that type of culture where you knew, obviously your background being pitching, what I'm saying, you're going to, I already know, kind of cater towards that, but, still, you're in, how do you establish the culture in a program, and how long does that really take to the point where a scout knows, hey, if I'm going to come over there, I'm going to coach Baumgartner's team, I'm going to get an arm, I'm going to get a guy that can run, play some solid D. How long does that take?
I tried to establish that in my very first year, because when I took over, we had a lot of, I wouldn't call them misfits, but, the guys that I kind of ended up having. I had some guys that had a chip on their shoulder, and that year we had 160 some stolen bases. We figured that out. So right away we knew, hey, we're going to win with some speed. We didn't have the big boppers. And all of our outfielders could run. Our middle infielders could run. Our shortstop that year got drafted by the Yankees, and he could run. He didn't sign with them, but he got drafted by them. We've always had a good, we just had that foundation set, so we've always had a good shortstop, for instance. We've had a run where all of our shortstops since I've been here have gone D1. So our first guy went to Oklahoma. Our second guy went to LSU. Our third guy, Oregon State. Our fourth guy was Louisiana Monroe. Our fifth guy was Utah. So we just had a run with kids that, they can play at that level, and with that speed, that helps.
So it's like a premium position like shortstop. What is, from a metric standpoint, are you, obviously you want them to be able to catch the damn ball, but is it speed the next, so, what I'm saying? Like when you're evaluating a player, is it, how's he, is it, hey, batting average first, or is it speed and then combination? Like, what is it? Tell me, how do you go about recruiting and looking out? Matter of fact, this is one of my questions, from out of state though, but I'm asked for any prospect. But Billy asks, what's been your primary way of recruiting out of state?
Well, our primary way of recruiting out of state is a lot of word of mouth from high school coaches, previous players, scouts, depending on what area we've gone to. So I know a lot of people. Obviously, I've been doing this for a while. So when I get a kid out of Hawaii, I got 3 or 4 different people I could call. Up in Oregon, I'm from Oregon, so I have people calling me now. And so a lot of the out-of-state stuff is people calling us, since we've created that niche with the recruiting and getting a hold of us. Kids sending us emails and videos, and then us following up. So that's kind of how we do the out-of-state stuff. As far as the position goes, when I'm looking for a shortstop, again, our program is about player development. So I'm looking at a kid. How can I develop him? He's got to have a tool. He's got to have something. So my very first year, the shortstop I brought in, he had arm strength, and I could tell he's going to be able to run. He didn't run well his first year. His first fall, he was a 7-flat 60 guy. But by the second fall, he was a 6'5" guy, tall and lanky. And he's a guy, left-handed hitter. He turned a base hit to center field. He turned it into a double. And he ended up, like I said, he went to Oklahoma, plays for the Marlins. Now he's a AAA coach for the Marlins. So we started out the right way, but we see something. The next kid we brought in, shortstop, he had the arm strength. He didn't have the speed, but he could hit a little bit, you know. And so when he went to LSU, it was at the time they were losing their shortstop. So it worked. It was a good fit for him at the time. Now he didn't know Alex Bregman was going to come in and take his job, you know. And so Bregman came in that first year, and so he got pushed over to second base. And then our next shortstop we had out of Oregon was a kid named Justin Bone. He went in the 7th round out of here, signed with Oregon State, but he had the run tool and he had the arm strength. He just didn't have the hit tool. And so we had to work on his hitting. And, you know, we obviously the middle infield part and having the glove work and the drill work we do with the infielders helped him too. You know, so you're just looking for a couple tools and trying to develop the other ones, as you well know. I mean, it's a development game, and we're just trying to figure out ways to develop. So that's what I'm looking for. Because I know who we are. I know I'm not getting the shortstop that is fully developed. He's mature, or else he'd be going D1 already. So I'm not getting that kid. So I got to know what I'm looking for. And all these guys that have signed out of here are shortstops at D1. They were not being recruited by D1 schools out of high school. And so that's something that we take pride in too. That's why I always tell people we're about player development. That's what it's about, because you got to develop the players, you know. And all of a sudden these kids get attention. You know, wow, I didn't get that attention out of high school. Well, now you are, because you've worked hard, you've put in the time, you've done the drill work, you've done the weight room, you've done the speed training, and now you're turn yourself into a pro prospect or a D1 athlete.
That's pretty awesome, because there's some junior colleges out here that claim they do player development, but most of those guys are getting guys that are been drafted and they just kind of, you know, increasing their draft status, you know, type of thing. You know, yes, they're putting in work, but, you know, they're already kind of ready-made players. Sounds like you get these guys that are not even, you know, being looked at by D1 schools, so you really have to train them up. So that got to make you feel good that, you know, this kid's not even being looked at the D1 program, but now he's going to Oklahoma, LSU, big-time programs like that, man.
Yeah, you know, again, it just comes back to knowing who you are, and that's who we are. We are not getting ready-made players. I don't get ready-made 92-mile-an-hour arms. I have to develop them into that with the hope, you know, that my projection that I see or my coaching staff sees in this player, that we're going to turn this into a guy that we really like, you know. And so, you know, for pitchers, we're looking for guys who have loose arms and, you know, the projectability, maybe a little skinny. So we can put some weight on him, and you're like, hey, this guy's going to end up throwing hard. And you just never know how it's going to work too with kids. Is it going to happen within the first fall? Is it second fall? Because everybody develops at a different pace. The process is slower for some, faster for others. And so that's what we have to have too. I got patience.
I mean, it's pretty good, man. When a kid come in at 7 flat at 18, you know, because usually you kind of speed-wise, you already know what you're going to be at 18, 19-ish, but a guy going from 7 flat to 6'5", that's some serious training going on. That's a serious jump right there.
Yeah, that was phenomenal for that kid to do it. You know, and his happened pretty quick. He was a little skinny sucker, so he probably hit 250 his senior year in high school too. So there wasn't any D1 programs wanting that. And then I stopped.
How do you go after a kid hitting 250? What do you see? You know what I'm saying? Is it something that game or so he has just shown you enough at that game or two? Because the 250 hitter, I don't care, junior college or anything, you know, that makes you kind of leery a little bit. I mean, you had to really take a chance on that kid hitting 250 in high school, no?
Yeah, we did. And like, you know, he just had the arm strength I liked, and I liked the speed, and I could tell he had some bat to ball knowledge. He can make some contact. And reminded me of some other kids I'd seen previously that went on to be D1 guys, and he just fit the body type for me that I thought, okay, this could work out pretty good for this kid. Plus, it was my first year, so, and I don't know if we would still take that type of kid now, because we're getting a little bit better kid. But at that time, you know, hey, he was taking a chance on us. We're taking a chance on him, and it all worked out great.
I love it, man. I love it. Chipper says, do you play PCC at all? What do you think of their new coach?
I don't know PCC. Wonder where that is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is neither. All right. Lauren says, how many players do you have on your roster year to year?
We have usually in the fall we're 40 to 44. In California, the unique thing is that anybody can sign up for your class and try out, so you can't exclude anyone. So like the big city schools, they'll have 100, 120 kids sign up for class. Well, we don't have that problem here in Quincy. We're a small town, about 5,000 people. So now this isn't really a destination college for people just come try out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. So we can control our roster and manage it a little bit. And then the springtime, we'll travel with 28 to 32, just depending on where we're going, how many games. And some of that will be our pitching staff, and probably have 15 of those guys who can pitch. Because the one thing we don't want to do with our pitchers is throw them too much. And so our starters, we try to get 5-6 innings out of them, about 90 pitches, and then let other guys throw. So we're a little different in that compared to some JCs too, in that we play a lot of guys. We platoon. When we get to the playoffs, sure, we'll shorten it up, and we're going to use a select group maybe. But until then, we're trying to develop players, and part of that development is getting on the field and playing. And so we feel if we got good competition amongst guys, and we can play 12 to 14 position players consistently and pitch 12 to 15 guys as much as we can too. So we give kids opportunities to play.
Is that kind of low end? 40 to 44. I've heard schools right now up to 50 plus guys, especially now with the whole COVID thing, man. This is a couple of questions in that. So on a normal basis, the 40 to 44 guys. How has COVID affected you as far as roster and recruiting wise, and on the B side of this, when the pitching, from a pitching strategy wise, you say you use a lot of arms. 5 innings. That's kind of been it's like kind of the norm. We're watching these World Series games, guys, now. But have you always been like that, or is something that's adjusted, over the time where you kind of start seeing what guys are doing up there and kind of intertwining into your strategy down there? Is that something you've always done? So 2-part question.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll do the pitching part first.
Okay.
We've always had that philosophy since I've been here. Now, I didn't have that philosophy so much at the 4-year level because you're not really so concerned about the development. You are, but you're trying to win games at the 4-year level. Your job's to win, or else you lose your job. Well, here at the JC level, I think our job is to teach kids, develop them. And so therefore, I don't need a guy to go out and throw me 120 pitches on a start. I need I want to develop players. And so that's my job. In the process, we've been very successful here at Feather River. We've won a lot of games, and we try to teach kids how to play the game the right way. And with that, we were successful. And so that's the deal, And so I see the major leaguers doing that now too with the pitchers. But ours is just more, I think it's fair to kids to give them a chance to develop and play. The first part, the roster and the pandemic, the COVID, we were a little different this year. We sent away most of our sophomores who got their year back. We helped them move on. So we probably returned 3 or 4 sophomores off last year's team. We had 15 or 16 last year, and I only let 3 or 4 come back. And I thought it was the right fit for them to come back. Not the other guys weren't a right fit, but it's tough right now. So with our recruiting class we brought in, we needed some openings too. And so now what I'm loaded with is a bunch of freshmen. I got COVID freshmen and I got true freshmen. And so that's going to be the tricky part after this year. How does that work? And so we're looking at moving some of our COVID freshmen on, just our top ones who don't need another year necessarily of JC baseball, and they're D1 ready and they're ready to go. And so we're going to have to let those guys go so that we can get back to a normal recruiting for us. Now at the 4-year level, I think it's going to be a little trickier. And I've heard both with D1 coaches that I talked to that they think some kids are going to leave at the break because those rosters are so big. How can they play 45 kids? That's not fair to those kids. And some of them think they might leave after the year's over. So some of the good programs are going to keep the best players, redshirt them for the year, and then at the summertime, make a decision. And then the NC2A is going to have to step in at some point too, I'd imagine. And they're going to go back to the old rules where it's 35-man roster, 27 on scholarships. Now, when that happens, I think is going to be the key of this whole roster and impacted rosters right now. Because I still think the rosters are impacted at the 4-year level. So there's going to be some good kids playing JC baseball for sure this year that are at D1s or D1 talent, but why go there and sit the bench behind kids? And that's the decision parents are going to have to make with their kids.
I mean, I just speaking upon D1 guys, JC guys, and beyond. I mean, it just seems like the junior college level will be some high level ball more so than years past. Does that sound about right?
You're spot on there. I think the JC baseball is going to be really good. It'll be interesting to see what happens in January if kids leave their D1 programs because they see, hey, there's 45 guys here. I may play, but I may not. So is it worth it? Those are questions parents and kids are going to have to ask themselves. And you just hope that, the coaches, they're trying to do their best too at that level. They know their rosters are impacted too. And I'm sure for them, it's kind of a juggling act too. How do we get these kids in? How do we make it worth their time? So kicking them back to a JC and getting them back in a year or two might be the best thing to do.
How do you I'm going to actually put a 4-year, hat on right now, right? And I guess you got to do it too a little bit too. So how do you from a coach's standpoint, keep these guys involved? You just make it super competitive in a competitive nature where everybody knows, man, 4 to 6, you know what I'm saying? 4 to 6 of you guys are not going to be on this team in the fall, and you just know it going in. And how do you, because you got to have some kids be like, this is not right, man, and whatever. Or those are first to go, or how does a coach keep those guys competing, knowing that, man, you're going to get cut. Somebody's going to have to, I say cut, but have to leave.
Well, this game is over for all of us at some point in time, and at the JC level, you're just trying to give those kids the opportunity to play for as long as possible. So we feel like we're real honest with our kids. We let them know exactly where they stand, what they have to do to get on the field. And pretty much 100% of our kids that aren't going to be on our travel roster, they want to stick around and play with us in our spring program because we let our redshirts practice with us. We're still developing him every day. I don't care if he's the 44th player, or the best player on our team. We're giving all my coaching staff's giving everybody their attention. So it's sometimes hard for us to get rid of kids. We rarely cut kids. If they want to stick around, they want to get better at this game, we're here to help them do that. At the 4-year level, I think it's going to be tough for them. I'm not sure how they're going to do that. You're going to have to be, there's so many personalities, especially at the D1 level, the egos, those kids are good. How are you going to do that? And it's like being a big league manager. I mean, in pro ball, there's a lot of great players. There's a lot of people, a lot of egos involved. And how do you make everybody happy? I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for those 4-year coaches, keeping players and parents happy. And then maybe one, so they can just get them back for their second year, and they don't want them to go to a JC. So that freshman, they're going to have to find time for him, or they're risk losing him the next year.
That's why you guys get paid the big bucks, man. You know what I'm saying, man? God, make these type of decisions, man. Man, I feel for some of those guys, and I definitely feel for the parents and players. But all right, Lauren says, what are some of the top baseball JCs in Northern California?
Well, in our neck of the woods, we got some really good programs in Northern California. You start down at Fresno City College. They're considered Northern California. Sacramento City College, everybody's heard about them probably. Coach Weinstein back in the day, coaching them up and them winning all the state championships. Sierra College in Sacramento. Delta College is kind of the new hot commodity down in that conference, the Big 8 conference. They've won a lot of state championships, got a lot of great players coming out of there. You go to the Bay Area and the San Mateos, the Alonis, the Chabots, the Cabrillos. I mean, there's just a lot of good baseball being played in Northern California, a lot of great programs, a lot of good coaches, that just because they're coaching at JC doesn't mean they couldn't coach at a D1 or be a pro guy. I mean, there's a lot of great baseball knowledge that's being supplied to these kids in Northern California and Southern California too. I mean, but in Northern California, there's a lot of really good programs that are really, really good.
All right. Salosa says, agree. This is the type of coach I would love to coach my son. All right. So, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. All right. Willing to come way out there from Atlanta, Georgia, coach, to So that's the kind of impact you're making over here, man. So here we go. We got How do high school grads navigate this? COVID is causing all kinds of problems for recruiting, school selection, and interest.
Yeah, it's a tough one for them, the high school kids, the 2021s, and even the 2022s. They're in a tough predicament, especially with a lot of the recruiting restrictions going on right now. The D1s aren't allowed to recruit until maybe March 1st, they're hoping. In California, we're still under restrictions. We're kind of following the Division I guidelines, so I'm not allowed to recruit face-to-face. I can't go out and watch games. Everything I have to do is video. So it's tough.
Even in California, the junior college level, you're not really.
Yep. Wow. We don't get to do any recruiting right now face to face. So it's been tough. We didn't get to do it all since last spring too. So this group of freshmen I brought in, I never even see play. It was just video, and I'm going word of mouth, and hopefully it works. And so far it has. It's been pretty good.
You've been happy you've been happy with the guys you brought in, huh?
Yeah. And we got some good surprises too. There's always guys who you watch the video and go, I don't know. And when you see it live, it's like, oh, that guy's really good. And then you got the reverse, you see a guy in video, that's really good. And you get it live, it's like, oh, what was I looking at? But these high school kids, it's tough, and my daughter's in the softball world. So she's a 2022, and there's just nobody out watching them right now. It's really tough for the kids. And, so they better figure out, okay, what am I interested in academically first? That'd be a good start for these kids, and then kind of make a decision on what they want to do from there. And they're going to have to promote themselves a little bit, get videos done any way they can, send those video links to the coaches they're interested in. So, if I'm a high school kid, grad right now, I'm putting down 10 schools on my list that I really like, and I'm emailing all the coaches and sending them a video link and just kind of seeing where it goes from there. And I'd also have some references, contacts on that email. So if you're sending it to Cal State Fullerton, those references on there better say, yes, you should play at Cal State Fullerton, because that's kind of the hard part too right now for kids. Where do I fit? Where do I play? I haven't been seen. So how's this coach at Cal State Fullerton going to trust that I am a Division I player? And so you got to have some references for that too. And a lot of those kids, a lot of our kids, our program, they're good students. So they're not here because of their grades. Okay, they're here because they're trying to see how good they can become in baseball. They were a D2 guy or a D3 guy, but you know what? I want to see if I can play D1. Okay, well, you go to a junior college and give yourself 2 years to do that, or 1 year. We've lost some of our best players after 1 year too. We lost a pitcher to Washington after a year. We lost a pitcher to Texas Tech after a year, and that's part of our job too, is move them on. So when our kids come here, they're not signing a 2-year contract. If you're good, you're ready to go after 1 year, you go. That's what it's about. I just tell Mark needs to be patient with that. It's just, you don't know when it's going to happen, and figure out the schools that your son or daughter likes and email them, and then start the process that way.
Great information. Let me see. I got some questions coming in now, Coach. All right. Jeffrey says, when recruiting at your level, how do you view a dual sports player, since one that plays baseball year-round as opposed to one that plays year-round and concentrates on his development?
Well, even at our level, I love dual sport kids. The more you can get of those guys, that's part of my projectability too. When I ask kids, do you play year-round or do you play other sports? So if I think they got a chance to be pretty good and I see they play 2 or 3 sports, then I know when we're just focused on baseball, they are going to get better. Usually I go back to my shortstops, because our last shortstop just signed with Nevada. He got a good deal. He was a 3-sport guy in high school. My kid who signed at Oregon State and got drafted out of the 7th round here, he was a 3-sport guy in high school. So once you just focus on baseball, which you've never done before, that makes you even better, in my opinion. And then there's the guys who play year-round. They're still going to get good. But I think sometimes they play year-round, so you get a little tired of the game, I'm afraid. We're a dual sport guy. They never focus just on baseball, and so this is all new to them. That can be good and bad, because sometimes the grind of doing it all year, you can get tired, right? But what I've seen out of dual sport guys is the improvement they make is dramatic in the fall and spring, when you're just focusing on that. So it's a pretty neat deal. So I like dual sport guys. To answer the question, I think it's way better than Not way better, but it's better than a single sport guy, I think, in the end.
All right. Good question, Jeffrey. We got Joseph Dominguez says, shout out to Joseph. What do you look for in a catcher?
Well, just what the word says right there. We got to be able to catch the ball. And that's one thing I love about watching these playoffs right now, man. You watch these guys receiving, oh my, taking those borderline pitches, and they're getting strikes out of them. That's the catcher you want. The catcher that has a little bit of a personality too, and create that relationship with the guy behind you, the relationship with the umpire. Okay, you got to have a guy who can communicate with the umpire in a positive way, and you got to have a guy who knows how to communicate with pitchers. Which guy do I have to kick in the butt? Which guy do I have to pat on the back? Those are things that a catcher needs to know besides just catching the ball, right? And then you get into the skill set, right? We got to be able to block the ball. We got to be able to shut down the running game. So those are things you're looking for too. And the last thing is hitting. What do they provide you offensively? And so some kids, they're worried about, okay, I hit real good. Well, those guys aren't catching in the big leagues. It's the guys who can catch and throw. Those are more likely the guys that you're seeing on a daily basis, especially in the postseason. Look what the Yankees did. They went to their second guy rather than Sanchez because he was a better defender. And in the end, that's what they needed was some defense. They didn't need Sanchez's offense. They needed the defense. And so the defensive catchers last a little bit longer than the guys who just are hit only. And the other thing you're looking for is a guy who can separate offense to defense, because that's the number one thing that pitcher wants is they don't care about your at bat. They want to know that you're back on defense with them and you're helping them out. If you're sitting there worried about your last at bat while you're catching that pitcher, he's going to be pretty upset with you. And so that's you got to separate that. Catchers, that's tough for them. The elite catchers can do it. They know, I got to separate. I got to play defense. I got to play this side of the ball right now, just like any other position too, for that matter.
I love it, man. That's a detailed answer right there of the worst / I guess best position on the field. I don't know how anybody would want to, but but hey, that's what they all managers now in the big leagues, but man, Mark says, I'm hearing the word development as a theme. I love that. Thank you for keeping that focus for the players. All right, I agree. Lawrence says, how can I send you video of my son? He's a 2023. Lawrence is in Vallejo.
Well, Lawrence can go to, I would say, our athletic website, but it's down right now. We're in the process of getting a new website put up. But if you can find my email address on our frc.edu, the main website page, and you just send me the video through my email or send me a link to a YouTube. That's the easiest way to do stuff like that.
I will give me a little time, Lawrence. I will post his email. I always do. For my coaches, I'll post it up there. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna get through these questions. So I'm gonna force you to stay on. So, all right. Coach Terry is music to my ears. Shout out to my boy Mike out there. He's the one out in Oakland. Coach Terry is music to my ears. I love the big picture perspective. He seems to be balanced, helping kids be their best while setting the right expectation of what's next for each player. Love this. All right. Boy Mike out there and Cali, that's the one I was telling you about, that lefty swinger, the guy. Yeah. So do you like recruiting two-sport athlete baseball? He talked about that. All right. Yamina says great information. All right. Joseph said thanks, coach. Love it. Let me see here. We have a question. Jonathan says, when watching videos, what areas do you want to see included to make your decision on a player?
For our pitchers, the video we like to see is behind view or behind the catcher, then behind the pitcher, and then a side view. Those three views give us a good idea of what his mechanics look like and the looseness of the arm, how the arm works, the body works, is it working together? Is it kinesthetically connected? And if they can throw a radar gun over that, it works out great too, just to confirm, because you wouldn't imagine how many times I get, well, my kid throws 86 miles an hour. And then you get him on campus, he's throwing 80. So if you can get if you're going to say he's an 89 guy, then you better show up a video with it, showing that that's what it is. So the videos of the pitchers that way. Hitters, I like the side view of the hitters too, and from behind, just so I can watch ball flight. I like to see what the ball does.
Okay.
Can the kid, hit the ball with some backspin, or is he top spin pull guy? So if you can watch some ball flight, which a lot of kids, they always show their pull side power. Well, that's easy. Who's got the oppo power? Who can drive the ball the other way? I mean, those guys are few and far between at the younger level. You just look last night at Brandon Lau and the 2 home runs he hits. He goes opposite field.
Little guy too, huh? Shoot.
Little guy. Mookie Betts goes oppo for game 1.
Right.
And so kids, even in our program, we're constantly preaching it. We got to hit the ball the other way. You have to hit it not only the other way, but hit the other way with authority. It's not just to fist it over there, but drive it. So the hitters, you want to show some ball flight, and a side view too. A lot of kids nowadays are showing us exit velo or have a launch angle, which those things are all great.
I know it's kind of, how are you feeling exit velo and launch angle and giving you these metrics and stuff like that? I mean, tell me, I'm just asking you, man. I'm gonna ask you.
Well, those are all great numbers and great metrics. But the bottom line is, when I get a kid here, can he hit a pitcher in a game? I don't care what your launch angle is, what your exit velo is. If you can't make contact, all that stuff goes out the window. So it really doesn't matter. And that's some of the things the last couple of years I've noticed that we got to talk to kids about, because, my exit velo was this, coach. Yeah, but when we put you in a game, we're getting no exit velo because the ball is either popped straight up or you're swinging through it. So the bottom line is you still got to have some hand-eye coordination and have some barrel awareness to hit a baseball. So I think sometimes kids get too enamored with the launch angle because that's all you see on every home run ball it's hit in the big leagues. The launch angle, the exit velo, the all StatCast thing. And so the other day in our office, we were looking at a Mike Trout YouTube video and he was talking about, here's how I work on my hitting, and not really worried about the launch angle. It shows him hitting off a tee, doing some old school stuff, and that's what I think kids, that's what you should be worried about. Can I make hard contact consistently? Don't worry about the launch angle, all the other stuff. If they want to change you when you get to the big leagues, you get that contract, change it. But you better show them you can hit. Because if you got strikeout numbers, it's not going to matter to anybody.
Preach, coach. Preach. All right. Gosh.
I'm sure. It is one of those things out there. It's crazy.
Yeah. So you recommend every player to have a personal YouTube or webpage? Billy asks.
Not necessarily, but you can create a link to a video you have. So if you're a hitter and you got a link to it, that's usually the easiest way I get stuff from kids is a YouTube link. And I don't think it's necessarily their own personal page. It could be, but it's more just a link to their YouTube and how they hit, or how they run, how they field. So if you got a fielding wise, like say you got a shortstop, you'd like to see him get the ground balls and see his arm strength across the diamond, see his footwork. How does he work as an infielder? Outfielder's a little tougher on video because that's guys can catch a fly ball. I like to see some arm strength, but that's tough sometimes to see on the video as well.
All right. Jonathan says thank you. All right. D-Rob, another Cali. All right, got my Cali guys out here. They don't be on. They be on, but they don't really be on like this, coach. So you bringing them on now. You bringing the Cali boys out here. So my boy D-Rob says, how do you compete in recruiting with Sac City and all the other good JUCOs in your area?
Yeah, it's not easy. Let's be honest. It's not easy. It's a big city. It's easy for kids, those local kids, to stay home. So again, it's about finding our niche. So those kids that come out of that area to come up to Quincy, to Feather River College, have to be willing to get away from home. We're 3 hours away from Sacramento. So we have to find that kid who wants the opportunity to play, kind of wants to get away from things, and just focus on baseball and school, because that's what we have here. We don't have a lot of shopping malls and big time movie theaters. It's baseball. It's like a baseball camp up here. So if those kids are serious about their game and just doing that, seeing how good they can become, they do it. That shortstop I keep referencing in my 08-09 teams who signed with Oklahoma, he was right there in Sac City's backyard, and again, he hit 250, so nobody was going to recruit him. But we saw something in him that we took a chance on, and then by that spring, all those schools down there in Sacramento area, every time we play, I'm like, man, we really missed on that kid. We really missed on that kid. And some of it, you just get lucky, and you get a kid. But Sac City is one of the premier programs in not only California, but the country. So if we're going to compete against them, we got to find a kid that wants to get on the field right away too, because they're so good that they'll have those 120 kids come try out. And so, you just hope you get an opportunity to have them. But it's tough because there are good JUCOs in our area. And it's just about the opportunity. Kids got to want to have the opportunity to develop.
Is it really 100 kids that want to try out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shoot, there's the old days. I've heard the stories, with Weinstein. They'd have 3 or 4 fields of scrimmages going on at once, and so the kids just got to decide what you want to do. Is it about the name, on the front of that jersey that you're really going to go play for? I mean, we hear that all the time. Why are you going to go to a D1 school if you're not going to get on the field? Just because you signed that scholarship, that doesn't mean anything. Okay? It's not going to help you get to the pro baseball. Getting on the field is going to help you. And so that's kind of the same thing with when parents and kids look at things. Yeah, it's great to have some of these big JCs maybe contact you, but are you really going to get on the field? That's what you have to figure out. And that's what's tough. Those are the conversations I have with my kids when they're transferring out of here, when you got a chance to play. Where do you go play? LSU or a place you can get on the field right away? And my kid chose LSU. He was comfortable he's going to get on the field right away. And you're doing the same thing at the JC level you do at the high school. What is going to be important to you? And getting on the field needs to be important.
There you have it. Oh, gosh. I thought that would be the easiest thing, but I got parents that tell me that they'd rather go to the 4-year school. They don't mind sitting for 2 years and competing, and because the degree from that particular school, is, so I guess that's the dad or the parent or the mom that necessarily their dreams are not necessarily to play in the major leagues, or, right? And if they think like that, which it's I wouldn't think like that, but I had this conversation today with a dad,
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because kids and parents sometimes don't realize, I'm going to go there. I'm going to try to get better for 2 years, and I'm going to get on the field my junior year. Well, there were just 2 recruiting classes that came in right after you, who those freshmen could be better than you. And so they're going to play over you. Because I've had that conversation with parents too, that signed some Pac-12 schools, and their kids go sit the bench, and they're just like, man, we made a mistake. We shouldn't have done that. Like, yeah, you don't see that big picture because you're so focused that I signed at this great school, which is good for you. I mean, nobody wants to take that away from you, but don't go in there thinking I'm going to sit for 2 years and then I'm going to play automatically my junior year. That's not how this game works. And there's freshmen right behind you that are going to come in and take your job. So what I try to tell kids in a nice way, family, friends, or even recruits, I mean, if you're going to go D1 as a freshman, you better be sure you're going to get on the field. Because if you're not getting on the field, then you need to go play at a JC. That's the only way you're going to get better is getting on the field. And that could be a hard reality for kids, because that stinks to hear, I think, a little bit, and it's hard for coaches to be honest.
Listen, it is hard for coaches to be honest. I don't think it's hard because you're scared to hurt feelings. I think it's because it's just hard to be honest and, whatever. But my thing is, though, what I'm thinking, my personal thoughts. But anyway, the the junior college kid, I think it is a kind of like a letdown until they, and I think that's why I love the platform that I have. I bring it on you guys and all of that, or me speaking it, because I would have been, I can't sit here and say, at 18, I would have been like junior college, whatever. But talking with you guys, and when I say you guys, it's not even a junior college guy. You know what I'm saying? It's been the pro guys. It's been the D1 coaches that all have either played at Division I. Colleges, started there and then went on to the pros or D1 programs and stuff like that. For me to be like, man, you know what I'm saying? You played it, you played it, I'm like, damn, everybody played it. I'm like, and I've been knowing these guys for 15, 20 years, and they all have started at junior college. I was like, man, it gotta be something with the junior college thing. And then, every D1 school that every coach comes on there loves the, junior college. I haven't had one coach basically dog junior colleges. You know what I'm saying? And, so, that's why I like to inform the kid. If I talk to a kid about, anything working, trying to help them get into schools and stuff like that, I'm like, yo, keep this junior college thing open, man. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, even if it wasn't COVID or anything, whatever, I'm like, yo, the benefits I'm seeing with junior colleges it's a no-brainer to me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Allows that kid to get adjusted to college too, and classes and doing all that rather than being stuck at a big school. And part of those kids need to know their niche too. As far as the different levels, the top NEI programs in the country, they're all getting junior college and D1 kickbacks. None of them are the top 20 teams in the country aren't playing freshmen. Same thing with NC2A Division II. If you're going to be an elite program at that level, you're doing it with junior college kids and D1 transfers. That's how you do it. There's only one route of 4-year ball that plays freshmen, and that's D1. And so unless you are an elite player as a freshman and going to play on the field, you should look at the junior college route. It is a no-brainer for kids to get their feet wet.
What about the parent that says, they worry about academic side, with the grades, will they transfer, and, the strong academic kids, you know what I'm saying? What do you feel about that and their, issues with junior college on the academic side?
Yeah, and I obviously I hear about that from parents at times too, that is again, what does the kid want? What you're going to do here for 2 years is no different than what you're going to do at Santa Clara, Cal State Fullerton. I mean, you're taking 2-year general ed classes. You're just doing it in a smaller environment at a junior college, either our place or somewhere else, doesn't matter. But as long as your kid's a good student, he's going to still be a good student and still be able to go to a good 4-year school when he leaves. He's just going to have a degree with him. And that's the big thing. You get one more degree done. I got 4-point students here. I got valedictorians that come into our program. It wasn't about the academics. It was about, they really love baseball and they want to see how good they can be. And so if the parents can let that happen, let their kids live a little bit as far as chasing their dream a little bit, they'll still get a 4-year degree. They'll still get a good education, whether it's at the junior college and beyond, but it's about, we're only kids once. Let's just try to play, And nowadays with the pandemic, there's no rush to get a job right now. There's not a lot of jobs out there. So staying in school and doing that is a pretty good deal if I was a kid right now.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying about that, Coach. All right. DeAndre said, how often do you change players' positions once they are on campus?
Yeah, we will do that if we feel that's in their best interest, not only for our team, but for their future. That's more of what we do with kids, So if I'll be honest with the kids, okay, here, you're going to be a shortstop here at our place, but at the next level, you're a second baseman, or you're going to be a center fielder for us, but you're a right fielder at the next level. And I do the same thing with the hitters. Hey, what you're hitting right now is great. You're crushing it. But let me tell you, when you go to D1 baseball, here are the things you're going to need to correct. Here's things you're going to need to fix and get better at. And so we work on those things, knowing that, okay, when I get to that school, okay, I'm going to have to make that change. So, for instance, back in 2010, we had a third baseman, big kid, just hit bombs, but never used his lower half, right? And I told him, you play Division I baseball, you're going to have to use your lower half. Well, he signs with Kentucky, goes back there. Somehow the light clicks on for him there. Their coaches tell him the same things we're telling him. They create a drill for him. All of a sudden, he's using his lower half, and now this guy is just hitting rockets everywhere, facing Vanderbilt's ace and just, hitting home runs, and put together a good 2-year career at Kentucky before he played with the White Sox organization. But he figured out how to use the lower half. And so that's part of us being honest with the kids too. Hey, this is what's going to work here, not going to work in the future. Or I got pitchers and I got 2-way players, right? I had back in 2014, I had 3 pitcher first basemen. All 3, I told them, this is your last year to hit in our program. You're not going to hit when you go to the next level. You're going to be a pitcher. All 3 signed D1 scholarships as pitchers, and their hitting career was done at that time. So those are the honest conversations you got to have with kids too, and just letting them know, hey, here's what's going to happen.
And so How do you say that like to a kid and coming to walking into your program, maybe think they may play sports or something like that, and feeling like do you have to have those tough conversations like, dude, you come here, you're going to pitch, you're not going to play, you know, two-way. Do you have to have those?
Yeah, yeah, we do. There comes a point when we'll have to do that, But I tell all the kids, hey, you want to be two-way? Let's do it. Because that gives me more flexibility in my roster, so I'm good with it. But I will tell them, okay, like our number one pitcher last year, he did two-way all the way through the fall, and then after that, I was like, okay, you're not going to hit for us. You just focus on pitching. At the time, he wasn't our number one pitcher, but by the spring, he was. He was a kid who was 83, 84, and by the just concentrating on pitching, all of a sudden goes 87, 89, and now he's turned himself into a D1 prospect because part of it was because we didn't throw as much playing third base, right? We just cut the throws down. That helps too. But when we have two-way guys, we do have to monitor their practice, their throwing. So if I got a guy who's really good two-way, I'm telling you, as a pitcher, okay, I don't need you to throw the ball across the diamond. Just field the ground ball. Just catch the fly ball. Obviously, you got a good arm because you're a pitcher. So don't do those things.
All right. Billy says, Coach Terry out of the mini D brings on his show. You're one of the tops in my book. All right. So shout out to my boy Bubba out there. Lorenzo said, Coach, I'll get you a couple more questions, get you out of here. I know you got practice, man. I appreciate the time. Lorenzo says, how early are you recruiting kids? 9th grade, 10th grade?
Nah, at the JC level, I'm really not into the 9th, 10th grade stuff. We're just working on our 2021s. That's what we do. We just go year by year. We do get emails I got an email from a 2023 yesterday. I just send a response saying we'll follow them, but I'm really concerned about my team right now and then my 2021s. That's kind of where I start. Now, there's a couple kids every year that I'll talk to. Like I got a 2022 I've been talking to for over a year now just because he's a family friend. And so I'll do that. But, man, you're just trying to concentrate on your club and your 2021s at the JC level. I leave it up to those 4-year guys to go recruit the 8th graders.
Yeah, that sounds crazy, right? The Coach, if you could, I'm gonna ask. I have all my guests, so parents, get your last questions in. But I usually have my guests come on and take us out with a great message, man. I know that I'm going to post your email if that's okay for videos, anything like that. That needs to be sent. If you have a prospect that you think Coach would like to see, preferably in 2021, like he just said. All right. And don't be over there with the 8th and 9th, 10th graders. He already told you what he's going to say and respond or at all. So, so think of that. I got this question that just came in, and I want you to think about that message that I'm going to, as you could take us on out, as I put it in your email here. So this, I'm sorry. Let me put this. Any truth to the myth of no need to recruit any other position players other than pitchers, catchers, and shortstop? A good shortstop can play any position?
Well, I still like to recruit other positions, but I would agree. That's what a lot of places do. They'll recruit shortstops only, and you put one at second, one at third, one at first, one in the outfield, one in center. There are a lot of programs that do that. Especially the Division I programs. They are trying to find as many shortstops as they can because usually those are the best athletes, right? And that's what they do. Again, you got to find your niche, and then our niche is to find the best players possible, and so that's what we're trying to do. But that there is some truth to that. That people will do that.
All right, Jeffrey. So listen, this is Coach's email here again. Small video, preferably. Get a YouTube page. Doesn't take a long time to create or something. Just links, all right? Not this big stuff you got to download and stuff, but just a link that he could just press, boom, and see the video. He told you what he wanted from the hitting side, pitching side view from the behind and to the side. 2 out of 3, I'm sure he'll take. Hitting side, side view, and he wants to see the flight of the ball, all right? And if you're going to be pitching and talking about what you throw, 83 or 88 or 93, have some proof behind it, all right? Okay? All right, that'll be I'm sure he prefers that too, not just word of mouth. Okay, all right. From that point, so and my two things before I ask Coach to take us on out. Tomorrow, I asked that parents come on. We have Tina Dorius. She's an academic director. We're going to kind of talk about this whole COVID time and online and SAT and ACT and the prep and we're going to go deep into this whole situation that's going on now for you guys. I'm excited to have her on. We talked a long time today. We were supposed to have her on yesterday, but I think it's a wealth of knowledge that all parents that are going through this recruiting, especially during this time, you need to be on this. So she's the director. It's called Metacognition Academy. All right, tough for me to say. So, but she will be on tomorrow at 4 p.m. So I think it's something that you guys need to come on and check out, especially if you're going through this recruiting process right now. Also, Dallas next weekend, I'm having a showcase. Coach, if you ain't doing nothing on Saturday, I know you may be practicing, but I'll send you that link. And I'm doing a live stream out there, and so I have some players out there from Texas and coming in from Arkansas, Oklahoma, a few states coming in for the showcase next weekend on October 31st during the day. So if you ain't doing nothing, I'd love to be able to send you that link and the live stream. You can catch the replay of the showcase and see if you see some players over there. So again, sign up for that. I should have the link up here, but I don't. But it's DB Dallas Texas Showcase.com. Check that out. All right. So from there, all right, said my little things. Coach, man, it's been a blessing, man. Thank you. Shout out to my boy Charles Thompson out there in Australia. And he definitely did. He wanted me to tell you he's like, tell Coach, man, to make sure he's on that link because we're gonna be doing the a showcase out there in Australia, and we're gonna be live streaming it to the coaches that are in my network here. Obviously the time difference and stuff like that. So he was like, yo, tell Coach, he needs to be on my thing, So shout out to he literally just as I'm talking about it, I got you, CT. My bad, dude. I got you, dude. All right. So yes, he wanted to make sure. And this is our connection. It's the beauty of this show because I met Charles way out in Australia, right? You know what I'm saying? And we connected here, and he's the one that connected me to Coach here. So that's the beauty of this whole, thing over here and just networking and the beauty of baseball, man. All right, building relationships and friends and stuff like that from across the country, California, across the world. So anyway, shout out to my boy CT for making this happen. So Coach, man, I said all my little pleasantries. If you could, man, you've been a wealth of knowledge leading up to this point, man. But if you could take us out, man, I appreciate it, brother. Take us over with a strong message if you could, man.
You bet, D. And thank you for having me on here. I think everybody out there, just make sure your kids are just looking for the proper fit for them. I think that's the most important thing because it's a great game. And so you got to find that fit academically, find it baseball-wise, and find it emotionally too, with something you can tie yourself to and see yourself being at. This is a great game, and it takes a lot of hard work. As D would probably attest to it, it's a grind, especially at my level. College baseball is tough. It's a 7-day-a-week activity. What are you doing for those 24 hours a day? That's going to be different from what some other kid across the country is doing for 20 hours a day. That's the one thing about this great game is that we are all on the same level playing field as far as the time. We all have 24 hours in the day. What are you going to do with your 24 hours every day? And that's what will separate kids. That's what separates kids in pro ball too. There's a lot of great players in pro ball that never make it to the big leagues, and injuries is part of that, but also the grind and what you're doing with your 24 hours in a day, so I'll leave you with that. What are you going to do with your 24 hours? It's going to separate you from somebody else. D, this has been a great opportunity for me. Very humbled that you allowed me to be on your show, and I appreciate it. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck with everything moving forward. Please stay in touch. Thanks again.
Definitely will, brother. Thank you so much, Coach, for coming on there. So tomorrow, 4 p.m., my academic director, Tina Dorius, will be there. Parents love you. Thank you, Coach, so much for doing it. I know you're taking out the time of your busy day, man, and doing this. I know you got to practice out there, get those boys better, man. And I look forward to meeting you in person one day, man. And go check out please go check out his, if you could. I mean, I wish I could post that damn link. I wish CT would be on there, man. But if you had the chance, go check out his highlight / recruiting video, man. Just see how beautiful that campus is. I mean, it'll make you think twice. You know, the evergreens in the background. You're talking about a pretty site. I don't know much about the city of Quincy, but I know that damn field, the outside is pretty nice. All right, so definitely go check that out. All right, if you could, man. So, and I'll post it right after we get on there. I'll post that link for you guys to check out.
Oh, thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, Coach, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. I love you guys. All right, thanks, Coach, again, brother.
Thank you.